What's up, guys? My name is Cody, and this is Off The Schneid. OTS is committed to bringing you consistent quality sports content. So if you like what you hear, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like, share, leave a comment, subscribe, anything to get this channel rolling. Today, we're going to take a look at my top 10 NFL quarterbacks heading into the 2020 NFL season. So with that, let's take a look at number 10. Kicking it off, we've got Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm going to tell you two things about Jimmy G that you might think is a lie. Number one, he was top 5 in touchdown passes last year. Number two, it was his first complete season as an NFL star. Seems crazy, but it's true. He's coming off of that torn ACL. So another year in Mike Shanahan's offense, he should be much more comfortable, and I expect him to take a bit of a step forward. With all the bootlegs and rollouts that they run, he should be able to score a couple more rushing touchdowns, and I see him exceeding the 30 touchdown plateau this season. He has one of the best tight ends in the game, in my opinion, the best tight end in the game, George Kittle. The offensive line is still quality. Joe Staley's getting a little bit older, but all around, the full line is looking pretty good to me. It's about a top 5 O-line in the NFL this season, in my opinion. His wide receivers should take another step forward. Deebo Samuel looked great. I expect them to address wide receiver in this year's NFL draft. At number 9, we've got Matt Ryan. He's had a streak of good 1 year, recede the next going since 2014. Last year was technically a recession year for him, and he still threw for 26 touchdowns. So I could very easily see him pushing that 30 touchdown mark once again this year. He did lose a very good tight end in Austin Hooper to the Cleveland Browns, but they traded a second and a fifth to the Baltimore Ravens for a former first-round tight end, Hayden Hurst, who I really like this year. The two biggest factors heading into the season for Matt Ryan are going to be his offensive line, which they addressed last year in the draft using 2 first-round picks to help shore up that O-line. The wide receivers, we're going to need to see Calvin Ridley take a step forward. He's had 2 identical seasons to start his career, and he's really going to need to take that third-year leap. Julio is still Julio. He's a top 3 wide receiver. He does what he does. And Russell Gage filled in pretty admirably at the slot there. Adding Todd Gurley is really going to help take some pressure off. So we'll see what happens, but I could very easily see Matt Ryan exceeding this number 9 rank. Coming in at number 8, we've got Josh Allen. Now I know what you're saying. Cody, you're an idiot. You're crazy. 8 is way too high for Josh Allen, but hear me out. He took a pretty big leap forward in his second year, leading the Bills to the playoffs, and I believe he takes another leap forward in year 3. The Bills went out and added a quality wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. I believe they paid a little too much to get him, but it was a need that they filled. That accompanied with John Brown, 1,000-yard receiver, as well as Cole Beasley in the slot. I really like his chances here. Yes, they need to address the O-line as well as running back in the draft, but I believe the Buffalo Bills win the AFC East on the back of Josh Allen. Coming in at number 7, we've got Rain Dakota Prescott. Dak was one of 4 quarterbacks to throw for over 30 touchdowns last year. He was number 2 in the league in passing yards, and he's had 21 rushing touchdowns through his first 4 NFL seasons. The offensive line lost Travis Frederick, but I think Joe Looney will fill in just fine. Blake Jarwin running the seam route, and one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL with Amari Cooper and the true number 1 on that team, Michael Gallup. Now, one thing that will help Dak play above this ranking is that defense isn't going to be doing them any favors this year. I was wrong about Carson Wentz. I did not think he was going to be this good coming out of college. 2017, he was having an MVP caliber season before he tore his ACL. 2018, I'm willing to write off because of that torn ACL and a couple other injuries that crept up throughout the season. The Eagles do have one of the better tight end sets in the NFL with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. Their offensive line is still quality. They will probably look to address it in the draft. But to do what he did with the wide receivers that he had last year, he almost single-handedly dragged the Eagles to a division championship. Adding some wide receivers or 3 in the NFL draft this year, I could potentially see Carson Wentz going back to that 2017 form. Kicking off the top 5, we've got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Drew Brees. He basically missed 6 games last year and still threw for 4 more touchdowns than 2017's anomaly season. The Saints went out and signed Emmanuel Sanders to complement the number 1 wide receiver in the game, Michael Thomas. They've got a top 10 tight end in Jared Cook and one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. The Saints have a top 5 offensive line and one of the most complete rosters in the NFL. It's extremely easy to pencil in 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns for Drew Brees in 2020. At number 4, we've got Aaron Rodgers, who's going into his second season of Matt LaFleur's offense, and I expect him to take a step forward. He's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, having only 2 seasons with double-digit interceptions. They lost Brian Bulaga, but they picked up Wisconsin native Ricky Wagner, who I think should fill in just fine. They have 2 very good pass-catching running backs in Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. They signed a wild card in Devin Funchess, and I like a couple of second-year receivers in Allen Lazard and tight end Jay Sternberger. I fully expect the Packers to address offensive line and wide receiver in this year's draft. Starting off the top 3, we've got Lamar Jackson, who's the reigning MVP and led the NFL in touchdown passes last year. Ravens have a couple quality pass catchers in speed demon Hollywood Brown and your tall jump ball guy Miles Boykin, as well as a top 5 tight end Mark Andrews. They have a very good offensive line, very good defense, and Lamar Jackson is the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL right now. However, he has lost the 2 most important games in his career. While that doesn't really affect him stats-wise, it's definitely something to be said. My number 2 quarterback heading into this season is Russell Wilson, who I've had in my top 3 since his sophomore season. The Seahawks went out and grabbed Greg Olsen to complement a couple tight ends who are already there, Jacob Hollister and Will Disley, who are both very good last season. They went out and grabbed Philip Dorsett to complement Tyler Lockett and a superstar in the making, DK Metcalf. Offensive line has always been mediocre for the Seahawks, and that hasn't changed for Russell Wilson. You can expect the Seahawks to add to the offensive line in this year's draft. Coming in at number 1, you guessed it, Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs' offense remains intact and has one of the best wide receiver tight end combos in the league with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. He missed 2.5 games last year on a play that should have never have been called. They've got one of the best offensive minds in the NFL right now, Andy Reid. That offensive line is going to need a little bit of help to get Mahomes back to his MVP 2018 season. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. And if you like what you saw, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, anything to get this channel out there. I really appreciate it. Look forward to some more content coming at you shortly.